The history of eyeglasses. A young monk sits in a dark monastery, carefully copying ancient texts by candlelight. His hand trembles as he struggles to see the tiny letters on the old parchment. Years of detailed work have weakened his eyes, and now he can barely make out the words he once wrote so beautifully. Suddenly, a fellow monk approaches with something extraordinary: two pieces of crystal held in a metal frame. Try this, he whispers excitedly. The young monk places a strange device in front of his eyes, and magic happens. The blurry letters become sharp and clear, as if someone has just lit 1,000 candles in the room. This moment, repeated countless times across medieval Europe, marks the beginning of one of humanity's greatest inventions. The humble eyeglasses would go on to change not just individual lives, but the entire course of human knowledge and progress. The story of eyeglasses begins in ancient times when people first discovered that certain stones and crystals could make things look bigger. The ancient Egyptians and Romans knew about this magic. They found that if you looked through a clear, curved stone, letters and objects appeared larger. Emperor Nero, the famous Roman ruler, used a special green stone to watch gladiator fights in the arena because it helped him see better and protected his eyes from bright sunlight. However, these early discoveries were just the beginning. The real breakthrough came much later, in the 13th century, in the beautiful country of Italy. Around the year 1286, in the busy workshops of Venice and Florence, skilled craftsmen were working with glass in new and exciting ways. These glass makers, called glass blowers, were already famous for creating beautiful mirrors, windows, and decorative objects. But then something extraordinary happened that would change the world forever. An unknown Italian inventor, whose name is lost in history, made the first real pair of eyeglasses. These early glasses were very different from what we use today. They had thick, heavy lenses made of crystal or glass, and they were held together with metal or bone frames. People had to hold them in front of their eyes with their hands or balance them carefully on their nose. There were no arms to go over the ears yet, so wearing glasses was not very comfortable. The invention spread quickly across Europe because it solved such an important problem. In those days, many people lived longer than before, but as they got older, they could not see small things clearly anymore. This condition, which we now call presbyopia, made it very difficult for people to read, write, or do detailed work. Suddenly, with these new glass tools, older people could continue working and learning throughout their lives. Monks and monasteries were some of the first people to use eyeglasses regularly. These religious men spent many hours every day copying books by hand, creating beautiful manuscripts with tiny, detailed letters. Before glasses, many monks had to stop this important work when their eyes became weak with age. But with the help of these new inventions, they could continue their scholarly work for many more years. The monks were so grateful for this gift that they often included pictures of eyeglasses in their religious artwork. During the 14th and 15th centuries, eyeglasses became more popular and better designed. Craftsmen learned to make lighter frames and clearer lenses. They began using different materials like leather, wood, and even horn from animals to make the frames more comfortable. The lenses also improved as glassmakers discovered better techniques for shaping and polishing the glass. By the Renaissance period, glasses had become a symbol of intelligence and learning. Scholars, doctors, and wealthy merchants proudly wore their spectacles as a sign of their education and importance in society. Many famous paintings from this time show important people wearing glasses, including portraits of cardinals, professors, and business leaders. However, eyeglasses were still very expensive, so only rich people could afford them. The next big change came in the 1600s and 1700s when inventors found solutions to make glasses easier to wear. They created the first glasses with arms that could rest on the ears, making them much more comfortable and practical for daily use. This innovation meant that people could wear their glasses all day without having to hold them constantly. In the 18th century, a very famous American named Benjamin Franklin made an important contribution to eyeglass history. Franklin had two different vision problems. He could not see far away clearly, and he also had trouble reading small print up close. Instead of carrying two different pairs of glasses, which was very inconvenient, he invented bifocals. These special glasses had two different types of lenses in each eyepiece. The top part helped him see distant objects, while the bottom part helped him read books and documents. This clever invention helped many people who had similar vision problems. The Industrial Revolution of the 19th century brought massive changes to eyeglass production. Before this time, each pair of glasses was made by hand by skilled craftsmen, which made them very expensive and time consuming to produce. But new machines and manufacturing techniques allowed factories to make glasses much faster and cheaper. This meant that ordinary working people could finally afford to buy eyeglasses for the first time in history. During this period, eye doctors, called optometrists and ophthalmologists, began to understand much more about how human vision works. They developed scientific methods to test people's eyesight and determine exactly what kind of lenses each person needed. This was a huge improvement from earlier times when people simply tried different glasses until they found ones that seemed to help. The 20th century brought incredible advances in eyeglass technology. Scientists discovered new materials for making lenses, including special plastics that were much lighter than glass but just as clear. They also learned how to create lenses that could correct many different types of vision problems, not just a simple nearsightedness and farsightedness that earlier glasses had treated. One of the most important developments was the invention of contact lenses. These tiny, thin discs could be placed directly on the eye, providing clear vision without the need for glasses frames at all. The first contact lenses were made of hard materials and were quite uncomfortable, but over time, scientists developed soft, flexible lenses that millions of people use today. Another revolutionary advancement was laser eye surgery, which could actually change the shape of the eye itself to correct vision problems. This meant that some people no longer needed glasses or contact lenses at all after having the special medical procedure. In recent decades, eyeglasses have become much more than just medical tools. They have become fashion accessories. Designers create glasses in hundreds of different styles, colors, and shapes. Some people even wear glasses with plain glass lenses just because they like how they look. This would have seemed very strange to people in earlier centuries who saw glasses only as necessary medical equipment. Today, eyeglasses continue to evolve with new technology. Modern glasses can have special coatings that reduce reflections, block harmful light from computer screens, or automatically adjust to different lighting conditions. Some experimental glasses even have tiny computers built into them, allowing people to see digital information displayed right in front of their eyes. The impact of eyeglasses on human civilization cannot be overstated. These simple tools have allowed countless people to remain productive and independent throughout their lives. They have enabled students to continue learning, workers to perform detailed tasks, and elderly people to maintain their quality of life. Without eyeglasses, many of the great achievements in science, literature, and art might never have happened, as their creators might have been unable to see clearly enough to do their work. From the mysterious Italian inventor of the 13th century to the high tech designs of today, eyeglasses represent one of humanity's most successful and enduring inventions. They remind us that sometimes the simplest ideas, like putting curved glass in front of our eyes, can have the most profound and lasting effects on the world. The ancient Romans called these magnifying stones reading stones, and they were among the first optical aids ever used. The exact inventor of eyeglasses is unknown, but historical records suggest they were first created in northern Italy between 1280 and 1300. Before eyeglasses, most detailed work had to be done by people under 40 years old, as presbyopia typically begins around age 40 to 45. Early eyeglass lenses were often made from beryl, quartz, or other semi precious stones before glass became the standard material. Benjamin Franklin invented bifocals around 1784, and the basic design principle is still used in modern progressive lenses. The first contact lens was invented in 1887 by German physiologist Adolf Fick, but practical soft contact lenses were not developed until the 1960s. It is estimated that about 2.5 billion people worldwide currently wear eyeglasses or contact lenses.